Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon. Hope you guys are all doing great today. Uh, Let me know if it's getting cold in your area this week. I heard yesterday that it is another cold snap is coming down throughout the country. So I'd love to hear what the weather looks or feels like in your area today, or for this week, that for that matter. We'll give everyone another couple minutes to join. We got, I think we had like 110 people register. We usually have about 40 to 50% show up live. So we'll see how many people we can get in live here. And that way we can get a bunch of questions answered today. And hopefully everyone's comments are working. Oh, that's why on-air chat was disabled. I was wondering why nobody was commenting. That would have been awkward. I would have been talking to myself. So again, welcome. Put where you're from in the chat while we're all waiting and kind of see what areas of the country we got covered today. It's cold in Connecticut. I believe it. I saw somebody posted about it, and I shared if you guys are connected with me on Facebook and you're in the HVAC industry, yesterday I had a post that I took back. I think I originally posted it like 7 or 8 years ago now. I've reposted it when I was in the HVAC industry, but I reposted it again for anyone that wants it. You can actually download that picture that I shared, throw it in ChatGPT, upload it, and create your own social media post from that. It's got shared like 990 times. I'm not saying that's going to happen for you because I'm sure this stuff's been shared before, but the key to doing stuff like that is to share it into all of your local Facebook groups, because a lot of times those local Facebook groups, they don't let you post anything about your business, but they will allow you to post things that are helpful to the local community. So that's one way to kind of get in there and be the leader in your area. So that stuff's helped me a lot over the years. Awesome. Oh man, we got people from all over. We got Tom from Arizona. Hey Tom, how are you? We got Michael from New Orleans. Michael, I was actually supposed to be in New Orleans last week for this, about a little over a week ago for the Super Bowl, but Tersh gave up the tickets so we could go to HVAC Tactical instead. So we had one of his buddies who runs the Savannah Bananas, got to go with his son and got to have a great time. He's a big Eagles fan. So awesome. We got Northern Indiana, Texas, Wisconsin. All right. Florida, Minnesota. Ricardo says the temperatures are normal in Colorado. We got Atlanta, another Florida, North Carolina. We got another one from Connecticut that's freezing. Must be really cold by you guys. Hey, Ray. Ray's down in Port St. Lucie. It's not cold in Port St. Lucie, I can tell you that much. We're headed back that way, kind of out that way, and for EGIA Epic. Is anyone going to Epic? Just drop the word Epic in the chat if you're going to be at Epic in the beginning of March, which is in, I don't know, 2.5 weeks or so. Tersh and I will be there. We'll have the Relentless team there, and we will also have, we're actually going to be presenting while we're there. So we'd love to see you guys if you're there. Nadine, I know you're going to Epic. Nadine, for those that don't know, she's going to be in the chat today. She is going to be answering as many questions as she can as they come in. So as you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If she can't answer them, she'll let me know at the end, and she'll help me kind of put those up on screen, and we'll get to those questions at the end. But I'm going to move my screen that I can see right now over, so that way I can have my presentation screen up. Eddie, make sure you say hey at Epic when you're there. We'll be podcasting as well from there. So, all right, let's get this show on the road because I have a ton to cover. And let me get the right screen up here. And I have a ton of new stuff that I want to go over. And I have a feeling that's why a lot of you guys are on here today, is to learn about how to properly grow your business with multiple GBP listings. So let's get into it. So what are you going to learn today? So first of all, we're going to really focus and hone in on the Google Business Profile and mistakes that are killing your lead flow and why you're not getting enough of your share of leads from your GBP. We're also going to talk about why it's your most important asset. I still don't see enough people talking, or enough marketing companies or marketing people talking about this. I'm going to go over some top local SEO ranking factors, and this is from a study with several hundred top local SEOs, so it's very well sourced, and then how to apply those factors to your business. How to return reviews in your secret weapon, and the one that you guys are, you'll have to wait around to the end just a little bit. I'm going to keep you on here, but to how to grow organically without breaking the bank. All right, so real quick, put the industry or industries you serve in the chat. Love to see what we all have here. I know some of you guys are clients. I know you guys are HVAC. I'd love to see what other industries we have representing us here today. Erica, there was a post, real quick. I'm not going to do this the whole time, but I'm going to show. There was a post on my personal page, and I can't pull it up right now because of the screen, but it talks about when cold weather hits your market, what kind of content to share. And I shared a screenshot back from, I think it was like 2018, of a post I made. And ChatGPT or Claude can take that image. If you download it, you throw it in there, and then you can kind of put your own spin and twist on that for your market. But that was super helpful. That actually helped me get some interviews at local news stations as well when I posted that originally, which then got me in touch with a reporter that I stayed in touch with, who allowed me to get on in the summer and the winter every year to give tips to the local market. So we got a lot of free press from doing stuff like that. All right, cool. We got a bunch of HVAC. You got Andy, and Andy's the oddball here in plumbing drains. Another Nick, plumbing, electrical, plumbing. All right, looks like HVAC. Ed, pole dancing. Thank you for the comedy, Ed. I appreciate that. Russ, bathtub refinishing and remodeling. Awesome. Very cool. Okay. All right. So real quick, if you don't know who I am, if you've never attended a webinar, I've never paid attention to anything that I've done, that's cool. You're not the only one. But I've been in the industry a long time. I got in the industry in 2013. I have held just about every single position except for technician and installer. Now, I've helped on plenty of service calls and plenty of installs, but I am not the guy that you send to fix anything. I'm the one that helps run the business on the back end. And I've held, I don't even have it listed on here, but I've also been a parts runner. I've pretty much done anything and everything I could to get whatever business I was working at moving forward. But the last couple years in the trades was mostly focused on sales, marketing, and operations. We founded Relentless Digital in 2020. I'm going to go into that a little bit and how that's going to really tie into this presentation really well as to how that company started. And it's going to tie very well into the Google Maps stuff we're going to talk about today. And then I'm also the co-host of Service Business Mastery. We get about 120, 150,000, anywhere between 120 and 150,000 downloads a month for our podcast. So if you've never checked that out, check it out. It's on any podcast site that you can possibly imagine. And my personal marketing philosophy, I love sharing this because this ties very well also into this, is once someone becomes a customer, keep them as a customer. We're going to talk about some strategies about that today too. All right. So why have a huge webinar? And this is the second one in the last couple of months we've done on Google Business Profiles. And for any of you guys that have followed me for a while, I usually share a lot of information about Google Business Profiles. If you ever visit our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, you'll see that a ton of content around this. And the reason is I was back at Professional Services. That was the third HVAC company that I worked at. And as I mentioned, my main goal was focused on sales, operations, and marketing. And I started because we were working with Service Titan at the time, and we had all of our call tracking set up and everything else. I started realizing when I was looking at these campaign summary reports, just how good the leads, the average ticket, the revenue was coming from our Google Business Profile. So I kind of took a data perspective of like, wow, why is this different than our website, than our social media? Why is this different? And I just went in an immense deep dive for about 12 months or so to better optimize what we have and to expand it as much as possible. So I learned a ton in that time frame, and I watched just about every video or ebook that you could possibly imagine. I took every webinar that was open to me, and because I saw such vast potential here, and then I realized that nobody was talking about it. So I started sharing some of the things that were working. We were with CEO Warrior at the time, And I started sharing them in a business coaching group that was tied to them. And there's about 300 business owners in there. And I started having people reach out for help. They asked if I could help them with this. It wasn't the intent. Honestly, I thought I would be in the trades until I retired. And just so happened that had something that people wanted, and it took off. Our first client was actually in Canada. So ties very well into this. This is literally how the company started, was our Google Business Profile service. So I like to think that we are leaders, or one of the leaders in the space when it comes to this, because this is where the best source of leads I've always seen comes from. And what's great about it is your ROI can magnify tremendously with some of the strategies we're going to share today. So we are going to talk a little bit, very, very briefly, about websites, because they're not dead. But I want to talk about why it's so important. When you think of SEO, or you're looking to work with an SEO company, if all they ever talk about is your website, to me, that's a red flag. And it's a red flag because SEO, especially local SEO, which I'm assuming most of you guys are local businesses, this is where the action happens. I see the back end of Google Search Console we manage over 120 different websites, and a lot of those websites, and they get a lot of impressions, but not a lot of clicks, even if they're ranking very well for their website. But when it comes to the Google Business Profile, that's where a lot of people are clicking, touching things, checking reviews, checking your hours, booking online. And this graphic, if you guys ever want to go and look at some of this stuff to kind of verify these sources, these guys did deep dive sources, and about 48% of page one clicks when someone's looking for a local company go to the map pack, or the Google 3-pack, as you guys know it. So when almost half of the clicks go into 3 little sections on there, that's definitely what I pay attention. You kind of see what that looks like compared to like pay-per-click, for instance. That's about, I don't know, 8.5% or so, 9%. So that's why a lot of my focus has been on the map section, because the data says focus on it. So I share this insight. This is actually old data. We don't use this tool anymore, but I have this screenshot because websites are not dead, but they have changed tremendously. Now, people still go to the website a lot. And what this is showing you is data connected to the Google Business Profiles of the clients that we managed. And it shows how many people are going to click on website links. They want to go to your website they're looking for something. Whether should they trust you? Do you look like a reputable company? Is there anything that's helping them make a decision? And you can kind of see that there was more website clicks than phone calls in this sample of over 60 days worth of data. So a lot of people still are clicking on the website. So you still need to have a great looking website where it's branded to you. It's fast loading. You still have to have those things. But when it comes to where people actually convert, meaning they call you or they book online, it's typically the Google Business Profile. We have some data. Our data shows about 82% of all organic phone calls come through the Google Business Profile, compared to about 18% for website. If you guys have followed Searchlight, or if you know of Searchlight, if not, I would absolutely check them out. They have a fantastic blog that talks about this very topic. Their blog is hosted on a site called substack.com, and it's called the Data Driven Trades. They focus on PPC conversion, SEO, outbound messaging, and then also AI CSRs versus human CSRs. They're starting to put that data. That's their newest thing that they added in the last month. Really great data, but about 80 or 81% of revenue for organic comes through the Google Business Profile based on their study. So if all the calls and all the action and all of the, not all, but most of that stuff is happening there, that's where we want to put our focus. It's kind of like the old Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. Put your effort where the money is. All right, so a couple things about websites before we move on to the core of our content today. These are just things. I like sharing tools with people because a lot of times people ask, well, I don't know how to hold my marketing company or if I have an internal marketing assistant or coordinator or manager accountable. These tools can help you. Obviously, we're not going to go deep into this today, but these tools are some of the best ones out there. SEMrush or Ahrefs are really great for overall website health. And then keyword.com and Bright Local are really great for tracking those near me style queries for every single city that's in your service area. Because what they do is they have technology that pings off of local IP addresses. So you can track 20 different cities for the same key term of AC repair near me, as an example. This is an example of keyword.com. This is one we use in our company. And we do this for our clients is we track 5 to 8 keywords over 10 to 15 cities, usually the ones with the highest volume. So plumbers near me, electrician near me, things like that get the most volume. But what you're going to notice when you do this is you're going to rank differently in different cities. And this is kind of really helpful for you to figure out which pages on your website need help. This is an example for this electrician, just a ceiling fan install. You can see like certain pages, they're ranked position 1, and certain pages, and these are all location pages, they're ranked 6th. So in this, there's a bunch of other things that we were tracking. These were just kind of an example to kind of highlight the point that you need to be tracking on an individual city basis so you can understand how these pages rank. Here's another example of what you get. So when you click on the results, it will show you what city. So like if you guys go to Google now, it'll say results from your city. This allows it to change. So you can, I know a lot of people like, well, I'm at my house, which is 10 miles away from my office, and I don't rank, but I go to my office and I rank. This is your way of being able to track those things. So that way you can understand what's happening in a little bit deeper way. There is a free option. Keyword.com is paid. I don't think there's any free options there, but there is a Google Chrome extension. It's called GS Location Changer. It actually, I don't think you guys can see this. No, you guys can't see that because I'm only sharing one tab. But it's a Chrome extension, and what you can do is just change the city. So let's say, for example, the search result that I'm showing on the page here, I actually did this while I was sitting in my home office in Queen Creek, Arizona. And you can see this is results for Provo, Utah. So you can do this for anywhere you want to try to rank for. You can kind of get an idea of what page 1 looks like. So it's completely free. It takes 30 seconds to download it, and it's very, very easy to use. And this is an example of what you get with keyword.com. You can see all the different search locations over on the right-hand side. So we're tracking very similar keywords like AC repair near me in all of these different cities to see how we rank. And this will also highlight, it doesn't show it on this screenshot, what page on the website is creating that ranking. So that way you can see if it's a location page, a service page, etc. All right, that was it for the websites. So sorry if you were hoping to get more from websites. I'm not going to go into it any deeper because honestly, this is where the action happens, and that's where I like to be. So real quick, and apologize, I got a big ass water bottle here that I drink every single day. I'm doing 75 hard if you're wondering why I'm drinking so much water, and I have to drink a gallon a day. So put a 1 in the chat if you are currently managing your own Google Business Profile listing. Put a 2 if someone else handles it for you, whether that's an agency, a freelancer, or 3, you have no idea. You don't know who's managing it. Just put that down in the chat here. Okay, so we got a lot of people doing it themselves. All right, we got a couple 2s here. Ray, stop trying to be funny. Some of our customers think they're hilarious. Bill even put a 4 here. Awesome. So we got a lot of people doing it themselves, and kind of a mixed bag between 1 and managed. Okay, awesome. That's great to know, because then I will try to give some tips for those doing it themselves, as well as if you have us, or obviously if you have us managing it. All of these things that we're going to cover, we're already doing, so you don't have to worry about it. But some of the multi-location stuff is going to be really important to you later as you decide to grow your business. All right. So like I said, I love giving away free tools. This tool is also free. I think you can do up to 10 searches a month on it, I believe. We have the paid version, so I don't remember exactly what the free version looks like. But if you're managing this yourself, you're definitely going to want this Google Chrome extension. It's called GMB Everywhere. It is a legal, ethical way to spy on what your competitors are doing in your market. And I'm just going to highlight a couple things here, but you can see, I don't know if you guys can see, okay, you guys can't see my mouse. You can see what categories your competitors are using, which we were going to talk about categories very early on in this. But then you can also see all of this data here, which gives you website speed, what content they posted, what technology they're using on their website, how many reviews have they had in the last month or 6 months. There's a ton of information. What Q&A, what services, what products are they posting? Do they have multiple Google business profiles? All of that stuff is linked right here. So it's a ton of really great data. If you want to do these searches more often, I would definitely get like the first tier of this, because 10 searches goes really fast, but there's a lot of really great data here for you to manage this. And for clients of ours, we use these tools literally every single day. That's why we have the unlimited version. All right, I'd love to know, and hopefully you guys all rank pretty well if you're sitting in your building at home, but type in your primary service and city. So if you're, let's say right now it's mostly heating season, except for you crazy Florida people. So type in like furnace repair and city, or plumber city, electrician city, or even bathtub remodeling city. And how do you rank? Just put the number down in the chat. If you're not on page 1, just put page 2. Otherwise, if you're on page 1, 2, or 3, just put that down in the chat. I'd love to see how you guys rank. And if you're 10, 15 miles from your office, you're probably not going to rank well. So don't get mad at your marketing company if you're at your home and you're not ranking for your office. Erica's ranking number 3. Awesome. Michael's number 3. Erica's number 1. I love it. Ivan, number 2. Nick, I can see why you put a sad face there, buddy. Page 2. Ricardo, number 1 for heat pump install. Fantastic. Tom 3. Russ. Awesome. Love it. Okay. So ranking pretty well. That's good. That is typically, if you are in your building or in your office, you should be ranking on the top 3 typically. If you're not, there's probably more issues there, because it's very local when you do those searches. So it's pinging your office address. So hopefully you guys are there. It's the key is to start ranking and kind of expand that radius that you're able to rank from your building. That's what we're going to talk about here next. So in order for us to dive into these topics, we're going to peel back the onion layers of the top 8 or so ranking factors. If anyone is interested in diving deep into this study, because I think there was someone on the call that's like a marketing manager for a company in Wisconsin, please go to whitespark.ca, or just Google Whitespark local ranking factors. And there's a ton of really great information there that goes really deep into all of this stuff. And it has like the top 150 ranking factors. It's all in order of the score. And the scoring system was essentially like which local SEOs, they kind of rate it just like they do for like MVP awards and stuff for sports organizations. It's kind of like if you're ranked this as a top 1, it gets more points and so on. But we're going to talk about categories first. And that's one of those things that GMB Everywhere that I just mentioned can really help you with. So the caveat to this is there are a ton of category options. Here's 14 that I found just for HVAC. Plumbing, I think there's another 14. And then electrician, I think I found about 9 or so that made sense to me. There's a ton of category options here. So how do you know which one to pick? And this really comes down to what is the most relevant service for you. So most of our plumbing and electrician clients, it's plumber is the primary category. And then what we do, if I can go back up here, is we fill out whatever services make sense or whatever services make you the most money or you want more of as secondary categories. We do the same thing for HVAC. HVAC is a little different though, because there's some seasonality involved. So right now, most of our clients are going to have something like furnace repair service or heating contractor right now. When it flips in another, let's say, month or 2 months or so, though, that will flip to air conditioning contractor, air conditioning repair service, something like that. So if you're in a seasonal business, you want to change these. You don't want to change them a ton, twice a year is plenty. Like if you're, we don't have any landscapers on here, but landscaping and snow removal would be like an example. So just know that there's a lot of options. If you want a tool to give you a list of all of the options, I don't have a slide for it, but it's called Plepper, PLEPER.com. I think they have a free version as well. In the top menu, there is a Google Business Profile category. I can't remember exactly their term for it, but if you type in plumber, for example, it will give you all of the competitive categories that other businesses have selected. And that's honestly where I came up with this list, is trying to find which ones made sense. And they have a list of, Google has over 4,000 categories to choose from. So there's a ton. And some of these may be relevant, some not. Otherwise, if you want these slides because you don't want to go to plepper.com and you're lazy and you just want to get the answer, reach out to Nadine from my team and we'll get you the copy of this slide and you can just swipe and deploy this. Mentioned this already, but this is a case study. This was a client in Illinois. They've been a client for, I think, 3 or 3.5 years now. We did this for them. This was maybe early 2024. And this was just to show the difference. We literally changed nothing but the main category. We changed it from HVAC contractor to air conditioning repair service. And then we also changed the landing page URL to one that was optimized for air conditioning repair service. And this was like 2 days after. You guys can see the difference. It made a massive difference right before the season started. Next, we're going to talk about this one's a little bit of a controversial topic. So we're going to talk about right ways to do this and wrong ways to do this, because just like anything in life, there's always a right and wrong way to do these things. We're going to talk about keywords in your business title and then removal of spam listings through spam fighting. So we're going to talk about the don'ts first. And when I'm talking about this, and you guys probably have seen this in your market, I'm going to guess that you have. Las Vegas is like one of the worst markets in the entire country for this. I've seen it's terrible how bad the spam is there. But things like this is not what I would do. Don't put every single main service you offer in here. Don't put these little brackets in here. Like, obviously, it's pretty clear that this company's name is not iTemp Chicago Heating and Air Conditioning Repair and Installation. I've never seen a company name that. It's very obvious. And what our company does for clients of ours, if somebody does this in your market, we try to remove this. We use a tactic called spam fighting. There's a certain process we follow to suggest an edit on the profile. If that doesn't work, we file a complaint with Google to try to get that listing taken down. So don't do this, but there is a way to do it the right way. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So this is an example of what I would consider the right way. And I'll talk about what makes it the right way versus the previous example. So this was a client right here in Arizona. Try to be as subtle as possible with the name change. And honestly, I only try to get one keyword in the name when we do this. And I'll explain how we do this to make sure. So if we get suspended, we can get the listing back live. But one keyword, find the one that has the most volume. And that's really what we look for. If you're in air conditioning, and I know we have several people in Florida here, put AC repair in the name. If you're in a heating market, maybe that's furnace repair or heating repair or boiler repair, whatever that looks like for you. Plumbers, if you do drain cleaning or you do water softeners or something unique, or trenchless, focus on the one that you want more work of, and it's going to have enough volume to actually get you enough leads. If you focus on something that's too narrow, you're not going to get enough opportunity. But the right way to do this is to file a DBA certificate with your state. Most people, it's through the state, because now Google does not typically suspend you for this. I have seen it a couple times where they get kind of antsy, especially lately. But having that DBA certificate will help you. It will get you to the point where you can get this approved if you ever need to. However, Google is also starting to get a little bit more strict on this, where you need to make sure like some of your signage includes the keyword in it. You also probably need to make sure it's updated on your website with your logo. there's a couple places. We do have a resource that I can't remember if we have this in the presentation or not. Nadine, maybe you can clarify for everyone or find the resource link. But we do have a video verification guidelines document that I believe it's on our website that you can go ahead and I would download that just in case you ever get suspended, because if you get suspended and you haven't been suspended in a while, you're going to want to know how to do video verification the right way, because video verification is a pain in the butt. And almost every new listing that goes live on Google has to go through Google video verification. That's the reason they do that is because of, I mentioned the spam one slide ago. It's to reduce the amount of spam. So they've done a really good job of removing it. So I can't ding Google for doing that, because it is a step in the right direction. It's just painful for those that are trying to do the right thing and grow their business. This is the company that I used to work at, Professional Services. We added, and actually this was after they became a client after I left, but we added electrical. We were a HVAC company the entire time I was there. And then about a year after I left, they added electrical. And so we had to change the name and clean up a bunch of stuff online, but you guys can see what that looks like. This is only 8 days apart. So the name was just Professional Services Heating and AC Repair before. So you can see they didn't really rank for electrical. And then 8 days later, started ranking for multiple miles from their location for that by doing this the right way. Next, we're going to talk about address. This is also going to play a part in our multi-location strategy in just a little bit here, but there's some things that you guys need to know. First of all, if you have a service area business listing, and how you'll know is if you look at yourself and you have like that map that looks like just a service area and your address is not showing live on your listing, that's a service area business. I can promise you're not ranking as well as you could if you have that. It sounds really silly, but a lot of people, we have this conversation during our sales calls a lot because I don't think there's enough people talking about it. But literally in the screenshot that I'm sharing with you, the only thing we changed, this is right before this client came on board with us, is they had 2 SAB listings. And that's why you can see the green down here. This is their second one. There's a technician's home, and this was their home. I told them they had to get at least one office to work with us. And so before we even signed the agreement to start our work, all we did was help them get this live with their address. And you can see the immediate ranking boost. We hadn't started doing any optimization, any link building, anything else. That was all we did. So this stuff works. So that's why physical offices are definitely, they're preferred by Google. And they're also, and I can tell you from experience, because Relentless Digital, because we're a remote company and we don't have an actual commercial building, I've been suspended 3 times in 5 years because we're an SAB. SABs just get suspended more. They're pain in the butt to deal with. So honestly, for anyone that wants to work with us, we will not work with you if you have an SAB for those reasons, because we also know that you're paying us money and we can only get you so far. We kind of like, we're not able to unlock the power of the work that we do because of that. So just something to keep in mind if you have an SAB. Next on location, this is something that also does not get talked about nearly enough, is how important the actual physical location that you are in is in ranking for SEO. So this client, and I should have added the screenshot. So if you went to their Google Business Profile listing, it shows their US post office address as in Bozeman. But when we look and put in Bozeman, Montana, like we did here in Google, you can see this red dotted map. Their location is where this red line is. They're not inside of Bozeman. Even though the post office says they're in Bozeman, they're not. And for purposes of what we care about what Google thinks. I don't care about what the post office thinks. So in what you can see here is they rank really well in these areas. And as soon as you start getting to a much more populated, more competitive area here, your rankings will start to dip if you are not inside of that location. Now, if you're more in a rural area of the country and there's not a lot of competitors and stuff, you can probably rank for a pretty long distance. But if you're in, like, Bozeman's one of the biggest cities in Montana, you're not going to rank in Bozeman if you don't have a location there, or it's going to be very, very difficult. You're making that hill to climb near impossible for you. So that was something that we battled for quite a bit to share with this client. They finally opened up a location over here. But it's something that you have to keep in mind. And how you're able to do that is having a heat mapping system like this to kind of tell you how you're ranking. And it starts uncovering clues. And that's how we were able to determine this. You can kind of see the tool we use outlines the cities here. This tool is called Places Scout that we use if anyone wants to use that one. It's a heat map ranking tool. It's got a lot of good data. It is a little bit more on the pricey side. It's definitely built more for agencies than it is for local businesses, but there are others out there like Local Viking, Bright Local, SEMrush has one. There's a few other ones out there. You can just Google Maps heat map ranking tools, and you'll find a bunch of them. This one is a fairly new ranking factor. And again, don't see a lot of people talking about this, but the hours that your business is listed online never used to be a ranking factor before about 6 months ago. And now it is. So if you have your Google business profile listed as 8 to 5 that you're open, at 5:01, you're going to start sliding down the rankings. And this is a perfect example of this. You can see on the right-hand side, and I don't know why I did this backwards, but this is their normal business hours during the day. This is when they were closed. And you can see they still rank kind of around their office, but the ranking shrinks dramatically. So if you're slow right now and you're looking for opportunities to expand, and you don't care when the calls come in, if you have an answering service or an AI voice solution that can help you answer those calls, you may want to consider going to like 24 hours or open it up to like 10 o'clock or on the weekends to try to find that traffic, or maybe just stay open an hour or two later during the day. Because when people get home from work, usually in the morning and when people get home from work are the two busiest times of day as far as phone calls go, that and the lunch break. It's kind of like 3 main times a day. So you want to make sure those areas are covered because it does make a difference in your rankings. This one's self-explanatory, but people still don't do it, is when you pick your category, Google has some predefined services here. When I first started doing this, predefined services had zero benefit to your rankings. However, that has changed. These do help your rankings. And I'm actually going to show you a screenshot here, what that looks like. So this plumbing client, they repair water fixtures like most plumbers do. But repair water fixtures, it was actually under the category of bathroom remodeling. So I added that category and then found repair water fixtures. And that's the only predefined service that I turned on for them. And you can see literally, this is literally a day later, the big jump. Now, some of this is off in the ocean, so it doesn't matter, but they did expand over here. San Francisco is kind of a weird area because it's very narrow, but you could see that they did definitely expand several miles for this keyword. So it's something to keep in mind. It's just as you're doing your due diligence and checking, especially if you're managing this yourself, just make sure this stuff is done. Add a quick description, use ChatGPT if you don't want to write those things out. I think you get up to 300 characters per predefined service. Fill that out with your information and move on. Some of these next couple things I'm gonna go through fairly quickly here. Add products to your listing. They get great placement. As you can see down here, this is a Roto-Rooter location. They added their special offers to products because products show up when you're on your cell phone, and they also show up nicely if you're looking on desktop on the right hand side and you Google your business. That stuff will show up in a really nice place here, and make the offer where a homeowner can see the dollar figure that they're going to get off. Don't make it hard to see because otherwise they're not going to know what it is, but this is really nice and clear. That's why I took this picture to share. Google Business Profile posts. I think a lot of contractors think that Google Business Profile posts are like the only thing that marketing agencies do to manage Google Business Profiles. And there probably are some that's all they do. This is just one of many things that we do at Relentless. But the reason it's important is we want to use these not only to showcase who you are, just like your website. When people are going to the website, they're trying to find something. They're trying to find who they're looking for. Does it look like a reputable company? Do they do good work? What do other people say about them? we want to highlight our offers here. And you can see there's this little, what's called a justification. So if you put certain offers here and this matches the keyword that somebody's searching for, Google will pull these in. So that way, if somebody's on their phone, they might say, oh, hey, $50 off service repair. Perfect. That might be the reason they click on your listing and book with you. And that's the type of stuff we're looking for. We're always looking for those like 1 to 2% increases to get your profile just a little further. Maybe find that one little advantage that we can do so you book more jobs. So you can kind of see some examples of what that looks like here. Here's an example. Also another post. Just the goal of these, when you have to think, these are not social media posts. Do not post the same thing you do on Facebook on this. It's not the same searcher. People on Facebook want to be entertained, educated. They want to learn something. On Google, they're looking for a provider. So you want to tell them about your services. You want to tell them about your offers. You want to, why should they hire you? So, because someone on Google is at the very, very bottom of the marketing funnel. So our goal there is to get them converted. And that's the type of content you need to put on there. So you need to think a little bit more holistically about your marketing and like, what is someone that's on this platform, say Facebook, thinking about versus someone that's on Google? And the content needs to be different. One side note, I don't have a screenshot of it here. You can add videos up to 30 seconds on here. So if you have a video that is, there's a certain file size, I think it's like 75 megabytes, which is a pretty small video. You can put it on and videos will auto play. So as soon as your listing shows up, it's something that kind of capture people's attention if you have it. So like a video of your install, maybe a video of a happy customer with a yard sign or a quick testimonial or something. Those can be great things to try to put on here as well. It kind of goes without saying, but you should add high quality photos. And there's a reason. Google's got a lot of things going on with AI technology. This one was one of their AI technologies before Gemini and all of ChatGPT and Claude and all these other things came out. This was their, and if you guys ever want to test this, go to this website here, throw in an image. What I'm showing here on the screen is you can kind of see, this was the image on the left was the original image. The image on the right, I cropped it and I took out a bunch of the clutter and the stuff, and you can kind of see what Google sees. All of a sudden it went from all of these different things like luggage and bags and shelving to gas, fluid, fixture, things that are nickel, titanium, household hardware, things that are more relevant to what this company does. And so when you take photos or you share photos, sharing the right photo, don't share a photo that's got like a ton of crap all over the lawn, like especially if you're replacing an air conditioning unit, you got the box and you got your tools and your gauges and everything else on the lawn. Focus on just the air conditioner. Focus on something that's relevant or something that has your logo in it as well, because I'm not showing it in this picture, but if I clicked on this text icon here in the middle, it would be able to read the fact that this is a Bradford white water heater and it has an Energy Guide logo. And there's I think this is Desert Water. It's a client of ours, Desert Water's sign here. It can read the phone numbers off of this stuff, even if we can't read it ourselves. So it's very important. And you have to remember, this is an older version of their AI. There's new versions of this that are even better and more powerful. Here's another example. This was a client's thing. You can see this is the text that they can read. They can read out the south off the side of your trucks, off your shirts, your hats, etc. They can read the plates off the side of equipment. So that way that brand can get recognized in the photo. So if somebody looks for, a Rheem air conditioner and you have a photo of a Rheem air conditioner, there's a chance that that picture gets pulled up with that search. Last couple things before we get into the multi-location strategy and research component. So user-generated content. This is something that, honestly, for a long time, there's been platforms out there like Nearby Now. There's another one like Real Work Labs. Honestly, I thought it was crap. And I don't think it helped with ranking. I think agencies sold it as such. That was until about a year ago. About a year ago, maybe a little bit longer, Google spent a ton of money with Reddit. I don't know if you guys have recognized that when you do searches these days, but Reddit ranks for a lot of keywords. And the reason Google paid Reddit is to understand how humans collaborate and talk with one another on like an online forum that's just kind of open source. And once that happened, we started doing our own test of taking completed jobs, running them through a ChatGPT prompt with a picture from the job, and then posting them to the website and the Google Business Profile at the same time. And we started seeing some really nice ranking increases from that. So I do believe user-generated content works. So if you already have a Nearby Now or something like that, that could definitely work for you. We do this as part of our service. It's called Bullseye Boost Posts. We do this in conjunction with our regular posts, but you can see what this looks like. And the one nice thing about having user-generated content is if we wrote a post for you, we probably wouldn't have that this was a 20 microfarad capacitor. Like, we're taking your technician's words, we're cleaning it up kind of like an 7th, 8th grade reading language, but it's taking content that we would never really be able to post, putting it on your website, and also pairing that with your Google Business Profile. So it's worked really well. And that's something that we can help you with. Or if you work with someone else, maybe ask them about Nearby Now or another service like that. This is just showing that it does help the website rankings. This is a page of a client in Vero Beach that we put these posts on, and it helps. Can't pinpoint exactly why it helps, but it definitely helps. You can see all these keywords that have improved. Here's a sample from those posts of the Google Business Profile before and after. This was the first screenshot we took. There's about a 17% increase in their share of local voice, which is just kind of an algorithm to show you how they rank across their market. And actually, Ray, I think this is yours. I think you're on the call. This is yours. So this stuff works. And that's why, this is why we focus so much on this stuff, because there's always more room for us to grow and improve, things to test. And Google constantly is changing. This is just a quick tip. If you didn't know this and you're managing your Google Business Profile yourself, you can connect all your social media profiles. This was something they changed about a year, 15 months ago. And if you don't have listed, let me back up here. If you don't have a listing on Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or X, get a listing on it for your business, because those are great backlinks. Those are free backlinks. All you gotta do is create a listing and connect the two things. It's a great backlink. And then also we'll sit here, so that way if somebody wants to engage with your content, that's here. I have also seen instances where Google is pulling in social media posts to the Google Business Profile post section automatically. I don't know if they're not doing that a ton in the US yet. I think it's more so in Europe, because Europe is a little more strict with what they allow Google to do. But it could be something any day or any month that comes, and Google all of a sudden is like, hey, I'm going to pull in your Facebook posts all of a sudden to your Google Business Profile. So just have it connected so Google knows what's going on. Lastly, we're going to talk about reviews. So it's not shown here because the screenshot would be enormous, but of the top 50 ranking factors, 8 of them, so close to 20%, a little less than 20%, had to do with reviews. So just keep that in mind as we go through these slides and how important it is. About 20% of the top local SEO ranking factors have to do with reviews. This first screenshot here is something that we did for a client. So they opened up a new listing, and we'll talk a little bit. We'll bring these two things together here. So they opened up a new listing. Their primary listing was about 15 miles south of this, in an area that wasn't the best. They wanted to rank in Lexington, Kentucky, where there's more money, more opportunity. So they got an office location right outside the city. And what we did is they had a customer list of about 1,500 clients at the time. And we dripped out a review campaign to all 1,500 of their past customers over about 2.5 weeks. We got them from 0 to about 30 or 32 reviews, it says in my notes. So we dripped out about 100 a day. And you guys can kind of see this was about a 6-week period. And they went from virtually non-existent on Google to a lot of 1s and 2s. So we did optimization and this review thing at the same time. And this happened right before air conditioning season. So my tip on this, 1, if you open a new listing, be prepared to do this. 2, if you're in a seasonal business like HVAC, every 6 months or right before the season changes, send a review request to all of your past customers over the last year. Because what it does is the more people clicking on your listing, playing around with it, leaving a review, those are all great signals for Google. So if we get a bunch of people to do that right before it gets hot or right before it gets cold, we're able to capitalize and kind of expand our rankings right when we need it. And that was kind of the strategy behind this. Is in Kentucky, April, May is kind of like that time frame. So they were well positioned to do very well that summer. Reviews can also increase conversions. Back to this is the GMB Everywhere tool. The search term for these is AC repair. And what you're going to notice, and hopefully you guys have noticed this when if you type in AC installation or AC maintenance or HVAC repair or plumbing, what you'll notice is Google's going to try to find a review that matches the search term. So you can see, and I've highlighted these in the red thing here, that Google's trying to match any review they found for these companies to this search term right here. That's why it's so important to get as many reviews as possible with as many different iterations of what customers say. Something that we do for clients, and you can do this through Zapier if you want to do this for free. I did this actually back at Professional Services using Zapier and only Zapier, is we took every 5-star Google review with a comment. So that's excluding the ones that people just leave 5 stars and don't say anything, and automatically sent those to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Even though we didn't get any work from Twitter, we did it anyways, just to constantly put out the message that we were a 5-star rated company. Sometimes we'd have 2 or 3 of these a day, just going out constantly. People would see it. I didn't really care so much about the engagement of these. I wanted the 100 or 150 or 200 people that saw these to just say, wow, Professional Services always does 5-star work. So that way they're always, anytime they think of HVAC, they think of us because they saw all the great work that we were doing. This is just a tip. You can use AI to reply to reviews, and it does a fabulous job. We do this with our clients. I have a free template on how to do this. If you email Nadine, put her email in the comments a little bit earlier, I believe. Reach out to her, and then she'll have to get with me. But I'll send you this review template. I think I have actually a Loom video on how to set this up. This is something that we also help with. Tersh is in the comments here, but we have a automation foundation community and course that shows you how to do this and many, many, many other things with automation. And you can be able to set something up like this for yourself and save yourself a ton of time over the course of a year replying to reviews. So to recap, and as far as the reviews go, and this is just my personal story from Professional Services. When I started there in March of 2019, they had 46 Google reviews, 1 really, really negative BBB complaint, and I think we had like 20 what are now called recommendations on Facebook. Through automation, through a focus on getting, especially once I started learning the power of why reviews were so important, of focusing on these things and then automating the process. In 2 years, we went from 46 Google reviews to over 600 on Google. We went from 1 really bad complaint on the BBB to over 20 5-star reviews and a A+ rating. We were not accredited. I didn't want to pay him for that, but we had an A+ rating. And then we went from 20 to over 100 reviews or recommendations on Facebook. I think we also got about 50 or so on Nextdoor, which allowed us to win Nextdoor Neighborhood Favorite a couple years in a row, which was a nice banner that we got to put on our website. So getting reviews, getting testimonials is literally one of the most important things that you can do every single day in your business. So I just want to hammer home that point because this is what's helped us. It's what's helped, and I'll share some of that stuff with you guys in a little bit here. It's helped Relentless Digital a ton by getting those types of things. So it's really, really important. And I don't want to gloss over that fact because, again, almost 20% of the top 50 ranking factors have to do with reviews. So automate the process, get them early, get them often, keep getting them. Ask while you're in the house performs the best. Then follow up with automation once you close the job. If you don't ask in home, you can't automate, your response rate is going to be lower. Just keep that in mind. Incentivize your team and congratulate them. You can also automate this. So if you want to learn more about that, the course and community that we're in, we can teach you how to do that. Tersh has done that for his business. I've done it for Relentless, as far as congratulating the team and automating that process. But incentivize your team to get these reviews. Make it a competition. Make it a game. Make it fun. It doesn't have to be boring. This can be fun. It can help improve your culture. Create a culture that thrives in providing amazing customer service. Use AI to reply to reviews. Cool. All right. This is the new stuff. This is honestly something that I think that we specialize in. I think we're probably one of, if not the best at doing this and implementing this process. We've done this with, I don't know the exact number, probably 40 or 50 different companies. One of my first ones that we did this with was the company you see on the screen here. They're in Oklahoma City. They've been with us for about 4 years now. And there's a specific strategy in order to make this extremely effective. And that's what we're going to go into next. So first of all, let's go over what you need to make this work. First of all, you need to know how you rank. I mentioned some heat mapping tools. You're going to want something like that. Or if you work with an agency or partner, have them share this with you, because the reason you want to know how you rank is you don't know where you can get an office. If you already rank in a market next to yours, you don't need to get an office there. You want to find an office in an area you don't rank, so that way you can really expand your reach. You're going to need physical offices. I know that is painful to hear. I know nobody likes hearing that. Technicians' houses, your kids' houses, if you've got grown kids, PO boxes, shared office suites, things like that. I highly recommend not going that route. Highly, highly, highly recommend, because you will have more problems. I promise you, it will become a headache for you. So it's better to get a physical office, get it approved once, and you're done. You're going to need a process to rotate reviews. I'll talk about this in a little bit. You're also going to need enough review volume to support having more than one listing. It's another really important thing that I will go into. And then you're going to have to have relevant website pages. I will also talk about that. I mentioned rank tracking tools and the video verification process. Oh, look at that. My team is awesome. They already put this on here. So if you want that video verification process, you can either use the QR code if you're watching on a computer, or go to relentless-digital.com/resources. We got about like 6 or so different swipe files there that you can swipe. But the video verification one is going to take you step by step of all of the things you need to prepare for, how to run the video verification calls, so that way you can hopefully get in one swoop, you can get your profile either reinstated or live. Good job, team. Good job, Nadine. All right. So how to find a new location. This is going to be a mix. I'm going to give you guys some prompts, and I'm going to show you guys some screenshots, and we're also going to talk about some AI. So first thing you want to do is you want to open up ChatGPT, and then you're going to want to, it doesn't have to be this specific prompt. Okay. So I'm going to read it. You don't have to use the exact same prompt, but I need help determining which city will be the best location for a new office for my HVAC company. Obviously, fill in the gaps. If you're a plumbing company, electrician, bathroom remodeling, whatever it is, fill it in for you. The options are put in whatever cities make the most sense for you. You can put more than 5. I just took 5 that I could think of off the top of my head. Please put the following information in a table: population, median household income, number of single-family homes, how many HVAC contractors' offices are within the city limits, and then median property value. Now, I put this prompt on here. ChatGPT did not come up with all of the information that I asked it to. This is what it looked like. This was my screenshot from ChatGPT. So it came up with population, it came up with the household income, and it came up with the median property value. So there is another step that we have to take in order to get, if you guys don't care about the number of contractors in your area, that's fine. That's not really the most important one. I would say number of single family homes is super important, because some markets, some cities or towns have a ton of rentals or duplexes or condos, things like that. You really want single family homes, so that way you can, the goal of this is to determine how much opportunity I have if I open an office in that location. So next, I actually went to ChatGPT to kind of get this information, but if you go to this website, data.census.gov, in the very top hand section, you can type in the city, state, and then type in single family homes. It will start giving you housing data for the city that you want to. So it's a little bit of a manual process that way. I was trying to make it easier, but I even tried Perplexity and it didn't come back real good. So I'm pretty sure these large language models, I don't know if they can scrape or crawl government websites. And I think that's probably why I wasn't able to pull that data. But what you can do is then just manually grab that, or have a VA or virtual assistant do that for you. Put that data in a table for you, so that way we can add to it. And this is what the data looks like on that website. I pulled 3 cities, so Phoenix, Mesa, and Gilbert. And you'll have a bunch of good information here, but the information I really care about is total number of housing units. That's the data we're looking for, because we're looking for something that matches our customer and has enough opportunity. If there's only 1,000 or 2,000 houses and the income isn't great and the property value is not great, it's probably not the best opportunity for you to grow your business. So I wouldn't recommend going there. So we're trying to get all of this information ahead of time before we go search for an office space. So next, when you have that data, you're going to go back to the same thread in ChatGPT and type in this prompt or something similar. Based on the data available and armed with the information that my customers are ideally this is where you need to know your customers a little bit. Ideally a 2-income earning household in middle to upper middle class. Can you rank these 5 cities in order of which would be best for my ideal customer? So if you have data from a CRM, you might know what this looks like. If you don't, there are reports out there like Melissa data reports that will give you this information. If you get that report, you can then load that information into a ChatGPT and ask it these types of questions. It will understand your customers, their interests, their hobbies, what they like to do, those sorts of things. I would recommend probably at least once every other year doing some sort of deep report like that, especially now that we have these large language models, because we can feed it. Those Melissa data reports are daunting. I think the one I had when we were at Professional Services was like 110 pages of data. It's a ton of information. All you have to do is give them your customer list. You have to download the files, send it to them, and they send you this report. So I think it's a couple $100. And the report, I wish we would have had ChatGPT back at the time, because I could have done a lot of really good stuff with our really cool stuff with our marketing. But you have to know this stuff. What are your pain points? Who is your customer? Because this is what will help you really fine tune and find the best opportunity for you. So this is what this looks like. This was the outcome, and it kind of ranked from highest to lowest. So obviously Phoenix is the largest population, and there's companies like Gettle, Parker and Sons, George Brazil, huge companies, 9 figures at least, that are in there. But because I gave it information about my customer, it ranked that as the least ideal city for me because of the income level. So it's really important. This is helping you get that information so you can really find, because you want to do the work for the customers that you like working with. You don't want to work with a bunch of people. You don't have a huge population and a bunch of customers you don't like working with. So it's just really important for you to know that stuff. Then once we have that narrowed down, so now that we know that, I think it was Gilbert and Queen Creek were the 2 best ones. Scottsdale was the 3rd one. Now we start looking for potential office spaces. You can certainly use an AI tool for this, or just go to Google, or if you have a realtor that's really good with rental spaces, find potential office spaces. Once the location is found, or a couple locations are found, you do need to do a little bit more research. Okay, so this process is not over yet. And I have the instructions here, but I'm going to show you and just walk through it with a screenshot, because I think the visual aid is very helpful. So for the purposes of this example, I typed in literally 123 Main Street, Mesa, Arizona. And this is where the arrow was, where the map pin showed up. So when you do this and you put the address in, you're going to get a map pin. What you want to do is you want to zoom out of the map a little bit. And then you want to type in your main keyword, whatever that is. So plumbers would be probably plumbers, or plumbers near me. Electrician would be electrician near me, and then city. And what you're going to see is you're going to find all your competitors that are within or around that area. This is going to give you an idea of how big the competitors are next to you. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see a bunch of competitors with 800, 1,500, or like this example, I know that's an ad, but Semperfi's got 8,200 reviews. We don't want to be very close to those businesses because it is going to be extraordinarily daunting for you to try to overcome them and get opportunities from them. Okay, so that's the first thing we're looking for. The next thing we're looking for is we want to take the same search, so don't change tabs, get rid of the keyword and hit enter. And what that's going to do is that's going to show you the city limits. And this is Google's definition of the city limits. You want to make sure that you are inside of that dotted map. Okay, because that's one of the ranking factors, is being inside of Google's city limits. So we want to look at the competitive landscape. Then we want to see if we're inside the city limits. And then if those things all check out and it's the right type of customer in that area, that's when I would go ahead and sign a lease. And then from there, I guess this actually shared all that stuff. So once you sign that lease, this is where you go, and now you're going to do the video verification process. So that guide is going to be really, really handy for you to set up the office space, so that way you can pass video verification. And then you're going to walk through optimizing your profile and doing a lot of the things we talked about in the beginning. So all of those things that we talked about before we got to this multi-location strategy, you're going to go through that entire list. If you want a step-by-step of how to optimize your profile, go to the easiest way is probably go to our website. Go at the very bottom is our YouTube channel. I have a ton of videos on how to do this stuff. That's where I would find that information, is probably the easiest place. And literally there's like a 20 or 23 minute video that walks you through step by step of what to do. But super important. From that point, once you have everything live, you're optimized. This is where I mentioned earlier here. I'm going to go back a couple slides to what we needed. Somewhere. There we go. So if you're struggling right now to get reviews and you're only getting a couple a week, I would not add another listing. If you're getting 1 to 2 to 3 reviews a day pretty consistently, that's when I would start to probably consider this, because you are going to need the volume to support. Some of the biggest mistakes that I see when multi-location clients who have already have multiple Google business profiles come to us, they switch the link manually. It's not a good idea because 1, people forget. 2, you need to consistently show reviews on all listings. So that example, when I showed you Champion Plumbing's listing, so they have 5 listings with us, and there are ways to automate. So every 5th job gets sent a review request. So what that means is, so let's say today we had 20, Champion had 20 jobs. That means every single one of those listings is going to get 4 review requests today. So you can see where that really dilutes the possibilities. So you're only getting like a 1 in 4 chance in that scenario to get a review. That's why it's so important to make sure you have a good process with reviews before you do this. And then you have to make sure that you have some sort of way to rotate this. Now we do it through a Google script. We write a Google script. It's not that difficult to do. And then it just, the first job goes to listing 1, second listing 2, listing 3, listing 4, 5, and then back to 1. And it rotates every single day. That's probably the best way to do it. I have seen some tools like Podium, Pulsem, Nice Job, things like that, where they will do it based on zip code. The problem with that is if you don't have a lot of jobs or a lot of customers in one of those areas where you have a listing, you're not going to get your reviews for that. So I definitely, the best way I've found, especially if you're in, like this is a kind of in and around Oklahoma City, as long as you're not in multi-states or like an hour or 2 apart, I would just rotate it, because it doesn't really matter if you have a customer in, let's say, Moore, and you get a review for Yukon over here. It's not that big of a deal. But if you're an hour apart or 2 hours apart, that gets a little obvious when those reviews are left. So hopefully I explained that well enough for people, but those are the types of things that you want to consider when it comes time to having multi GBP listings. that's pretty much all I had. I did want to share one last thing before we open it up to some Q&As here. I was blessed with somebody posting about us in the House Call Pro channel. Some of you guys are actually on this call today. Most people want to know what it's like to work with a marketing company because, and you guys can stop me if you've heard this before, I've been burned. I don't know who to work with. I don't know who to trust. They all sound amazing and promise the world. We do none of those things. We just do the work that needs to get done to rank your business, and we come up with strategies that actually work. They may not be the things you want to hear, but they are things that work. In addition to that, we also focus on giving you guys data that's really hard for most businesses to get. We have a human team that tags calls, so that way you know how many, because marketing companies like to promote how many calls they had. Well, we like to talk about how many qualified or verified leads we provided, because there is a big difference. There's only about 57% of all calls are actually verified leads or qualified leads. At least that's based on our data. So you can see what it looks like to work with us. If you're not a client of ours, you can book a call. And if you don't want to book a call because you're working with a marketing company, you can listen to our podcast and learn a lot more about AI and automation in the trades. Tersh and I talk about this stuff all the time, and it's a huge passion of ours. So we'd love to have you listen in and engage with us online with that. But the link to book a call is booking.relentless-digital.com. And Dawn would be the person that you would meet with. She does a fantastic job of laying this out. And she will actually build you, if you guys talk about it on a call, what that multi-location strategy will look like. She actually creates a map and puts out those opportunities for you so you can kind of see what that might look like for your business. All right, so let me pull this back over so I can get through some questions. Nadine, I don't know if you're in the back end. If you are, you can just pull up the questions. Otherwise, I can do it. Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you, Nadine. Question from Darren. If you AI auto reply instantly to reviews, is that risky? No, it's not. So I'll give you one caveat, Darren. I would not auto reply to 1 and 2 and 3 star reviews. What you can do is there's something called paths. It's a hard word to enunciate. PATH by Zapier. And what you can do is you can have like 4 and 5 star reviews, take one path where it automatically has a prompt and it replies. And then if it's a 1, 2, or 3 star review, it creates a draft of a reply and then sends you an email to approve it, because those things are really hard. There's a lot of nuance in the bad reviews where you definitely want someone to take a look at that before just posting it right away. But there's absolutely no risk. Google doesn't know, and I doubt they care if you're replying with AI or not. We reply to thousands of reviews a month that way and have never had an issue. Nadine, I just took this question because it just came in. So feel free, if Nadine, just keep putting any of the questions that weren't answered down below. Eddie asked, how do you advertise at the top of the map pack? Is it regular PPC or is there a specific way to show up there? Unfortunately, Eddie, that is regular PPC. So you have to do what's called local ad extensions and connect that. So you have to connect your Google Business Profile to your PPC account. That is the only way. And there's really no way to guarantee that spot. No, believe me, if somebody knew how to exploit that, it would have been exploited already, because that top spot or the top 2 spots when they're sponsored ads like that would be awesome to get. But you have to run PPC ads and give it enough of a budget so that way Google picks up on that. Question from Kurt. Is it best to have the review come in from the proximity of that office location? Ideally, but honestly, Kurt, I don't think it matters that much. That's why I mentioned the caveat. Like if you're 45 minutes to an hour away and the locations are that far away and you're getting reviews from this, the area that's 45 minutes away to your main office, that's probably not the most ideal situation. But in most of our examples with most of our clients, the offices are 10 to 15 miles away from each other. So it's really not that big of a deal, because a lot of times they're kind of in between the office locations. So the rotation works just fine. Oh, I love this question. Thanks for asking, Kurt. So geotagging images has been tested ad nauseum in the SEO community. It has shown zero ranking impact, regardless of what people tell you. So I wouldn't focus a lot of effort and energy on geotagging. I've tested this myself. It takes a lot of effort to go and geotag images and change the alt text and all that kind of stuff. Google strips that data when you upload it. And that's why when I mentioned the video files have to be a certain size, Google strips a lot of that stuff when you upload it. So it reduces the file size, because you gotta remember, they got to store all this stuff on their servers. So they strip a lot of that stuff out so they can get a bite-sized image. I wouldn't worry about that stuff. I don't think it's that valuable. Next, Bill, can you clarify one keyword in the business name? So what I mean by that, Bill, is the word repair as an example. So if you're like, your business name is controlling systems, obviously not an ideal name for this tactic. So that's why we added heating, AC, and electrical. Now that may look like keywords to you. We're just telling them what services we do. The keyword that really makes a difference in there is the word repair or service. That's the one that when people search for a service provider, they're looking for some sort of service offering. So that's why we try to get try to sneak the word repair in there. And that's the example I gave with First Choice Mechanical there. So I hope that answered your question. All right, we got an LSA question. Awesome. That's low, Ivan. The question is, I have had 40 impressions on my LSA ads for the last month. Is that low? That seems low to me. I don't know what market you're in. LSA has become very difficult to try to find any sort of like competitive advantages. Honestly, the best things that I found work is you got to get a lot of reviews. So back to the getting a lot of reviews consistently, it seems like that's one of the major ranking factors. And then of course, when you do get those opportunities, answering the call immediately. This is where something like an AI voice solution, maybe even an AI voice solution just for local service ads where it picks up the phone right away could help, because then Google's like, wow, this company's super responsive. So those sort of tactics are probably things I would maybe consider if that's important to you. But if you're not getting any calls from it now, it also probably doesn't make a lot of sense. And if you had a budget set aside for that, what I might consider is maybe taking that and put it into like PPC or something like that, where you can actually force it to spend and try to get your jobs. Okay, you've gotten zero leads from it. Yeah, I would. Best thing you can do is keep it live. Honestly, I would probably make it live like 24/7 and add the branded stuff and add just anything you can to try to get any leads. And then as soon as you get those leads, protect those like a baby and just be all over it. Follow up religiously with it. Just try to do everything you can with it, because eventually the goal is to have it start picking up. But I mean, you're also in, oh, you're Phoenix Metro. Okay. You may never rank for LSA. The guys that rank for LSA in Phoenix are Semperfi, Parker, and Gatto. And and George Brazil. So I don't know if you're ever going to break into that way. It's just there's just so many big players here that have thousands and thousands of reviews. So Russ asked, if we move from one physical location to another 12 miles down the road, but in a different town, yes. So you're asking if you're going through the Google video verification process. Unfortunately, the answer is yes. As soon as you change anything with the address, typically Google's going to try to have your business re-verified. So if that's something that you already have an office listing and you're going to do that eventually, one, don't do it when you're supposed to be busy. So do it in whatever a shoulder season looks like for you, just in case you're down for a week or 2 weeks. And then make sure you have that document, that video verification guideline ready for you, so that way you can set up everything and hopefully get it in one call. If you have problems with that, feel free to reach out to our team. We're happy to kind of assist you and kind of like what you say on a support ticket and stuff like that. William asked, have you seen any major fluctuations in local rankings in the last month or so? Our rankings dropped and so did our competitors based on White Spark data. I haven't seen anything about a Google algorithm update. I have seen some talk of it, William, but I haven't. Normally, my inbox is flooded with different algorithm update type things. Obviously, I think most of you guys are probably aware that the review count stuff last week was like the reviews were showing as missing, even though they weren't missing. They were just Google's review count thing was off. So I don't know if that had anything to do with any sort of algorithm updates. From everything I read, it was a bug in Google's system, and it sounds like it's fixed or very close to fixed for everybody. But I haven't seen anything else. So I don't know. I haven't seen anything that would make me be like, yeah, something definitely changed. Erica, any tips for being unsuspended from Google ads? We fixed everything under the sun. We tried a new web domain. We can't go hold anyone to get a manual review and just keep getting denied. I am not the best person to ask for this, but for any customers that are on the call, I was going to announce this next week, but for the last 5 years, we've only done websites, SEO, local SEO, and marketing automation. We have just hired a senior paid media specialist. We've actually been doing PPC for the last several months I've been personally working on that with a team member of ours that we hired, but we hired a senior strategist to focus on this. Erica, I will ask Brian if he knows, because I don't know if there's any tips for getting unsuspended. I do know that it can be a bear to try to get unsuspended. Usually issues are like a credit card that that expired, a payment amount that wasn't made, even if it's a tiny amount. Trying to think of some of the other reasons I've seen. If I think of anything else, I'll try to let you know. But those are some of the main ones that I've seen. But I'll ask Brian on our team about that. Awesome. Yep, the review count's back, to everyone's delight. I know I literally was headed to AHR to go hang out with Tersh and stuff. And my Facebook feed, 2 out of every 3 posts was about the review thing. And then all the marketers weighed in, and it was a hectic week. And I feel for you guys, because it's a challenging thing to try to undergo, especially when you don't know what's going on. I'm glad those are back. Andy says our ranking went up when we lost reviews, then went back down to where they were. And okay, so that's because the rating went up. So case in point of that, Andy, so if the rating goes down a little bit, the goal is to keep getting reviews. Just keep trying to get that rating a little higher, because the rating is one of those. I mentioned 8 of the top 50 ranking factors. Rating is one of those. Erica, you're an SCB listing. I didn't mean to make you sad. We tell a lot of contractors this, and sometimes it's just not in the budget. It's not in the cards yet. It is something I would take into consideration. Typically, there are office spaces in most markets. If you're in California or New York, you're probably not going to find it for less than $1,000 or $2,000. But in most of the rest of the country, you can find something for $500 or less a month. And the benefit is the fact that you're probably going to get ranked better. And maybe that's part of the reason with the Google Ads issue, is just them verifying the address. Google's just weird when they can't see the address and it's not what they would deem legitimate. So it causes a lot less issues, and that's why we tell people to get a physical location. Are local places as opposed to service areas allowed to be residential houses? So no, you're not supposed to be able to. I think I understand your question. Are you asking if the address is showing? Can it be a home address? Can you clarify that for me, Luke? Because I know that the old way when you verified listings was through the postcard system, and there was a ton of spam that way, and a lot of people got their house listed, and then they couldn't understand why they couldn't have their house listed. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. But yeah, that's definitely not. I've had clients that had a house listing that was verified and showing the address get suspended in the middle of summer. This was like 4 years ago. And that literally lost him like 3 weeks worth of work. He was in Florida during June. He lost like a ton of business by having that. Okay. Yeah. So if you have a listing with a home address that's live right now, that doesn't mean you have to do anything today. What it means is at some point, Google will probably figure that out, because if you pull up that listing, typically the house shows right in the picture. It's pretty easy for someone to figure that out. It's something I would consider being strategic with, especially if it's already live and it's already got reviews. Be strategic with where you want to place that with a physical location, an office location. But you don't have to do anything with it if it's live and it's not suspended. So just to be clear, it's kind of that's a gray area. We'll call it gray hat. Because if it's live and it's getting reviews and it's doing well, leave it. But maybe have a backup just in case, because if it gets suspended, you're going to have to hide the address and you're going to lose your rankings. So Ivan, the share of local voice, honestly, it's a combination to increase that. It's a combination of all the things I talked about. So it's not one thing. Now, the primary category, the name in your business title, review count, being in the city, like those top 8 that I mentioned, those are some of the more important ones. So if you were to kind of figure out your 80-20, focus on those before anything else. And you will see steady increases just from doing those things. Luke, I actually have a video on how to do spam fighting. Nadine, if you could just remind me after this or create a task for me and click up, I'll get that video to you, Luke. And then obviously our team can submit a complaint as well. So let us know about that. Already answered that one. All right, Tanya, currently working on our second location that your team is currently assisting with. We have office space ready in DBA. May you please go over the review rotation once more? Yes. So the good news, Tanya, if you're working with us, is we will help you with that. We do the script for you, and then we can rotate that automatically. If you're using a third party like Podium, Pulsem, Service Titans Review thing, Nice Job, House Call Pros, Native One, whatever you're using, that's a little trickier because we don't have access to their back-end technology. So typically we would have you use Bullseye Pro, which is our marketing automation app, to do the review requests. And then we would just rotate that for you. And we can rotate it any way you want. Typically we just do like a 50-50 split. But if you want one to get a little bit more, we can do like a 2-to-1 split, something like that. So I don't know if that answers your question. If not, feel free to message me directly and I can try to get a better answer for you. Ivan, there will be a recording. You will get this, I think, as soon as it ends. And then Nadine also has, she's going to email this out in the next couple of days. So you will get a copy of this. And then this also lives live on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to that yet, all this content's on there. You can just go to the section where the live videos are and you'll see that. Darren, no. Don't tell Google I said that. Technically, if you read their guidelines, it is something that should be staffed. However, we have never run into issues with that. And honestly, I don't even know how they would figure that out unless a competitor decided to walk up to the location, take a video, send it to Google, do the support ticket, which honestly, I don't know who has that much time on their hands, especially when they're trying to grow a business. So I've never run into any issues. But as long as you have signage and the lease is under your business name and stuff like that, you're usually good to go. Tom asked, hey, Josh, does the use of an IVR menu on your phone system negatively affect our Google ranking? We had one in place to reduce spam callers, so the inbound caller had to press 1 or 2 to connect the call to our CSR. Not that I'm aware of, Tom. We did the same thing at Professional Services, and I didn't see any. Again, that was a few years ago, but I don't think that's going to negatively affect your ranking because people are still clicking on the call to button from your listing. So you're getting that credit for people clicking on your Google properties. So yeah, I don't see any limit or any issues with that. All right, Kurt asks, what do you do if someone either Google or someone suggests a change on the GMB profile and it's accepted? So this is a great one, Kurt. Companies like ours, we have technology in place to, one, alert us immediately, like every single day when stuff gets changed. Even if we change it on a client's listing, we get notified, and then we can either verify that that was correct or change it back. The map pin thing, was I don't know if you guys know this, a couple months ago, there was a way for competitors or people that just really hated their own life to go and literally take your map pin on Google and drag it. So people were dragging these map pins to the middle of the ocean, and people were losing their entire ranking. And then, of course, when that company was moving the map pin back, they got suspended and then have to go through video verification. I'm pretty sure Google has cleaned that up. I have not seen any complaints on that. But as far as the suggestions, some of these tools that I mentioned, like Local Viking, Bright Local, some of them have like automated reversion technology. It's just, essentially, it's just all it is they plug into Google's API. And if something changes on the listing, it sends a notification so you can either confirm or deny that change. Whitespark has a tool for that as well. We use Local Brand Manager for us. There's quite a few of them out there, but it kind of like locks your profile. So the only way you can change it is if you log in and then change it through the API, and then it kind of locks it back down. So if a change happened, it reverts it back. It's kind of the whole concept of it. Michael asks, how many local HVAC businesses in our area had their map pin moved? Happened to us twice last summer during peak season. Google showed it. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. I'm pretty sure, Michael, this is fixed. I say pretty sure because as far as I know, the bug is fixed and you can't do it anymore, but that doesn't mean people won't figure out a way to do it. There's a lot of bad actors out there, especially people that are looking to get ahead, but this should not be a problem as we move forward. This is just one more reason to have that video verification guide and just save it, put it in your bookmarks, save it in the Slack channel, save it in your email, save it somewhere so that way if you ever have to go through this, you can get your listing back and live as quick as possible and have all the right pieces in place. Nick asked, do you have any services to get a second GBP up and running? Our second GBP has never been approved since October. We are in a contract with our current marketing company. Nick messaged me separately on that. It's not something I would say that we have helped people set up listings and just optimize them, but it's not like a core service of ours. But we can definitely talk and take a look at it. Yep, that's the one I was mentioning, William. Their monitoring tool is like $1 a month. Now, a caveat, we had like 180 listings on there, and we actually ran into some issues with their tool, and we removed all of those listings on there because we were having some problems, and our problems have gone away since we removed ourselves. So I don't know if that's going to happen because it worked really well for us for 8 or 9 months or 10 months, however long we were using it. But I don't know if it was just something weird with the API or the tool, but something we got rid of it after a little bit. So just keep that in mind. I would definitely ask them some questions and how that stuff works, but it is very, very, very inexpensive. So it's not a terrible thing to try out for $1 a month. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Really appreciate your time. This was a long webinar, and it sounds like a lot of really great questions from the multi-location thing. So a replay is going to go out to you. And our next webinar is going to be, I believe, Nadine, on marketing automation and how to set that stuff up so you can automate a lot of different things in your marketing, including emails, SMS messages, estimate follow-ups, speed to lead. We're going to talk a lot about that stuff next month. I'll get you guys more information, and then we will email out this replay when we're finished. So thanks, guys. Have an awesome day.